If I were you, I would think very seriously about what living in the past is worth.
Can you promise me it won't get, like, messed up?
Taliban can't touch this.
If you ever catch me in some sort of, like, dopey group therapy, you have permission to kill me.
So we're all here? Who wants to start?
My name is Merritt, deployed to Afghanistan in 2016.
Okay. Aren't we better than this woe is me? Ouchie, my feelings. Let's get out of here.
Be quiet.
Merritt? Everything okay?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Grandpa, I've been dealing with some things.
That's what a soldier does. You suck it up.
First platoon said there's a sniper out there.
You think I'm scared?
Where are you going?
Zoe!
You can't tell anyone. Burl. Damn, what a name.
Don't say that.
What? I can joke about the dead. These are my people.
Hey.
Sure. I didn't think, have you ever played Buck Hunter?
No.
That's a new record.
Well, damn.
Yeah, I'm crazy enough to say I'm crazy enough to shed my blood for you.
You think I'm crazy? Your mother thinks I'm crazy. But as long as you're under my roof, paper goes in goddamn six.
I would think seriously about what living in the past is worth.
Why would you re-enlist?
The world is not my oyster.
You think the world is my oyster? I'm a black woman in America.
With a lake house.
It's my grandparents' lake house. It is.
Oh, shut up.
It's the power couple.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are so happy to have with us here the talented director of a film coming out very soon. I believe February 28th is the street date for this bad boy. The film is called My Dead Friend Zoe, and we have with us Kyle Hausman-Stokes. Kyle, say hello to everybody.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. Let's talk about this movie. First of all, it has to be a dream to have a cast like this as a director. And I'm just talking about your main characters. We'll get into what I think about the cool little thing that you did with these day players that you had playing these little fill-in spots in a minute. Let's talk about this. How did you manage to wrangle such an amazing cast?
It feels like a genie in a bottle, three wishes dream come true. I guess the short answer is I wrote letters in the military. I was in the Army for 5 years. The JAG Corps has an expression that the pen is mightier than the sword. And so I spent, 2 days to write 4 paragraphs. And the first person that signed on was Ed Harris. And, I had the script and the short and the treatment. But yeah, once Ed joined, then it kind of became an Ed Harris picture. And then it was Sonequa and Natalie, who were incredible. And then later Morgan Freeman. But yeah, man, it all just came down to writing, communicating, having a good story, but being able to kind of put it in a letter, very heartfelt.
I love that because honestly, like Sonequa was so good, and like Natalie is such a good actress, but also a great director herself. So that had to be nice to have her around. This cast is amazing.
She helped me a lot.
Did she? I'm glad to hear that because this is your first feature, right? Because you've had a lot of shorts that you've done.
My first feature. It feels weird to say that. I mean, I've only had one job other than military, which is being a professional director. So yes, I've been directing commercials, TV shows, docuseries, things like that for 15 years. But this has always been the dream. So it feels like a marathon at a sprint pace. But yes, this is my first feature, and so it's pretty surreal to have an amazing cast like this. Yeah.
And you had a clear vision because this is also based on your short that you did back in 2022, right?
Yes and no. Actually, the short is kind of based on the feature, and this is good for film folks out there. I mean, I had written the feature I've been thinking about this for decades, and again, yes, this film is autobiographical. You know, every aspect of it is pulled from my actual story. Um, but at a certain point in trying to get it made, sometimes you got to just like feel the dreams, like you got to build it first. And so after a year of trying to get it set up different places, it's hard to go from 0 to 1. It's hard to be a commercial director, even though I had all this fancy work and portfolio. It's not features. And so I spent a lot of my own money to make a short that I took from the feature. I kind of made it its own thing. And then I threw myself a premiere in LA, you know, and invited cast and crew, but then said invite other people, invite strangers. And it was at that premiere here at the Hollywood American Legion that there was a producer in the audience named Richard Silverman who saw the film, was really moved by the short, and he connected me with Legion M, who ended up being the production company that greenlit the film. So it was a kind of a real success story in that way.
I love that. And the thing I was referring to earlier is you had a lot of former military veterans in your cast as
Yep.
smaller one-off roles, particularly in the scenes where Shanique was doing we're supposed to be doing her therapy. How important was that for you?
The most. I mean, that was maybe one of the most enjoyable things for me to do. This film, my Dead Friend Zoe, it has 90% real veteran cast. Like, so I'm so proud of that. To include this up and coming actor named Morgan Freeman, he's also, he's an Air Force veteran, and so in making the short proof of concept film, I cast all real veterans to be in that scene. And these are people that are my friends here in LA. They are working actors. They're great. And so it was a pretty fun day to tell them, hey, we're making a feature version of this. We're going to fly you up to Portland. We're going to kind of do the same scene, and you're going to play opposite Morgan Freeman. And the fun note about that too is I really threw them out to dry. I did not write any dialogue for my veteran buddies. I just wrote in the script. Each veteran stands and shares their story. So we started filming, and we just went around the circle, and it's just like, go, and here's Morgan in character, but still Morgan, and they did an amazing job, and it's really special. It's really special.
Those scenes hit pretty hard, and I love that. But by the way, thank you for your service, to
Thank
our
you.
country.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. This film, rarely does a comedy get to me, but like that scene where we find out exactly, I'm not going to spoil it exactly what happened to Zoe. It hits you because you realize it was wholly and utterly preventable to a certain extent. And it was beautifully done, and the way that you cracked it out in the script is really well done. I have to give you credit there.
Thank you.
What do you want people to take away from this film, besides the fact that it's important to check on your friends, whether they're veterans or not?
Right. What I hope for is that really it just gives people a tiny little nudge to talk about it, whatever that means for you. It could be about something traumatic, something that somebody that you lost. Maybe it's in group therapy, maybe it's in individual therapy. I was the most resistant to therapy in the world. I'm a thick-headed combat arms veteran, and like we don't do that shit. And so it took me a while to come around to be like, oh wow, so your brain is kind of like your body, like you kind of got to take care of it, and it can get injured, but you can totally heal it, and all you have to do is just talk about it. So I hope that that's what people will take away, is that there's good stuff on the other side of literally just telling your story to a friend or to someone else, and I hope that we can save some lives in doing that.
I hope so too, because it's very, very, very strong suggestion that you should check on your friends. Honestly, that part's really well done. I'm gonna give you a couple more fun questions just to end this thing.
Yeah,
The first
please. I
one's
like
really easy. First one's really easy. It's just who are some people that inspire you, whether that be professionally or personally?
Totally. In making this film, it's actually M. Night Shyamalan is one that I talk about because there is a twist in this film. I wanted to make a movie. I didn't want to make it is a cause film. There's a lot of impact partners, but I just wanted to make a fun, enjoyable movie. And so that was really M. Night's films. Another one is Judd Apatow. I actually used to work for his manager, this guy named Jimmy Miller, who's a big manager in LA. And so I would roll calls with Judd and Will Ferrell and Jim Carrey. And I remember Judd called me one day, which doesn't often happen, and he said, "Hey Kyle, are you guys funny?" I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Veterans, are you guys funny?" I was like, "Yeah, we're funny." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, well, I'd like to do a film about veterans that's funny. Can you have anything for me?" And of course I didn't. This is, 15 years ago, but that always stuck with me. And I've always been a fan of Judd's films, but then after that, Judd Apatow films are freaking heartfelt. They are funny and laugh out loud, but there's like real pathos in there. And I think it's hard to do comedy, and especially stuff that's got meaning in it. So Judd is probably more than anything else a big inspiration for me.
I love that. And honestly, you're completely correct. They're at the root of all of these hysterical comedies. There's something that he's trying to say, and it's usually said with the heart, said loudly. This
Well,
next question is the hardest question of the day. You have two films you can watch for the rest of your life. What two are you picking and why?
wow. I was just talking about this earlier. It's like one film I just love is Empire Records. Did you ever see
Yes,
that?
yes,
Yes.
one of my favorites actually.
Damn the Man, Save the Empire. Yeah, Liv Tyler and yes, I used to watch that film every day after school. Love that movie so much. And then the other one would be, and I suppose I should be a deep filmmaker and say something profound. I do love the film Atonement. I do love some other niche films called Scotland, PA, and things like that. But if to answer your question, the other one would be Wayne's World. I love Wayne's World
Yeah,
so much. I used to watch that every day as well. And yeah, those would be my two, Desert Island.
that is a great answer. Not today, especially not on Rex Manning Day. What a great answer to my question, because honestly, that soundtrack alone could feed countries for years.
Oh my God. People
You know what I
forget
mean?
about that. I mean, it sounds like we're of the same generation, but yeah, people forget about how, I mean, that was like Blockbuster, like VHS days, and like, yeah, and it just holds up, whether it's VHS to DVD or film or music or Spotify or now AI. It's just like there's always that transition, you know. Someone's trying to take away our art,
They can take away our everything else, but they can't take away our art. Damn it!
Right,
Ever.
right,
I
right.
I I love that pick so much. That's this logo here that we were talking about earlier. We did a whole 3-hour podcast and about movies with great soundtracks, and that was on it. Let me ask you a question. This is
Sugar High,
really
remember
important.
Sugar High? Remember that? And they play at the
Yeah,
very end. Yeah,
yeah. At the
yeah.
end, yeah, I love that one. I mean, the way it's used is perfect, honestly. This is a really important moment. I wanted to give you a second to shine on. Where are some places that people can donate if they want to help veterans who need help with their mental and physical well-being? Where are some places that they can donate? We'll link them in here.
Super easy question. This film has 3 impact partners, and these are some of the most highly effective vetted nonprofits in the whole country. I've been working in the veteran space for 2 decades. I can tell you that these are the good ones. Um, the Bob Woodruff Foundation is one of our impact partners. They are kind of like an umbrella where you can just donate to Bob Woodruff, and they will give the money to different other smaller veteran organizations. They're 501c3. They do hundreds of millions of dollars in donations every year. The other one is called The Mission Continues. And their whole thing is, we veterans, we don't want a handout, like give us a mission. They don't want to check, give me a shovel, And so The Mission Continues. We put on blue shirts, we go into communities, and we make communities better. We do community service projects. And then the last one is Every Town for Gun Safety Support Fund. I imagine you've heard of Every Town, but gun violence is and just guns in general in this country, I know it can be polarizing, but there are some like very common sense things that I think a lot of people can agree on. And as a veteran who is an expert in firearms, I think there's a place for them. But we veterans have a lot to say when it comes to like, does the guy next to you need to have an AR-15 in the same way that I carried in Iraq, that kind of thing. So those are the 3 impact partners for this film, and any one of those 3 would be an amazing place to support.
All right, I'm going to make sure we link those in here. And if people want to get a hold of you on the internet to talk about My Dead Friend Zoe, where can they find you and where can they find the movie?
Yeah, I'm on social media. You can just Google me, Kyle Hausman-Stokes on Instagram. Not much on Facebook, but yeah, mostly on Instagram. We've got a website for my Dead Friend Zoe movie.com. Yeah, Instagram, TikTok is all my Dead Friend Zoe. So we would love the support. And yo, we're an independent film, man. We made this completely outside the studio system, even though we've got these huge names. We raised money for this from in a grassroots, almost Kickstarter manner. We have Legion M. I don't know if you're familiar with Legion M, but they were the primary producer of this film. And so, dude, we've got thousands of everyday people who are no connection to Hollywood that invested in this movie to make it happen. So anyway, we could use your help. We could use people's help to spread the word, send a message to Hollywood that you're down to see movies like this in theaters, and that's our call to action. We could use the help.
You guys can catch that movie on February 28th when it's out in the theater near you. Make sure you do it, and make sure you support small independent films like this one. Thank you so much for spending time with us, Kyle. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your day to talk about your wonderful film. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with before I let you go?
That's it. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. This is great.
Oh no, it's been my pleasure, man. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you for making such a interesting and well thought out film. We really appreciate films like this and films of this size, and we need more of them. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, dude.